I think the best organizations manage to keep people around for longer.
But those are again, you're right. But I think those are the ones who are structured correctly at the top. From the top down, and they really thought through it, and they understand trends, and they understand where things are going. And again, most of them would have the sales and marketing alignment. That sales strategy, that marketing strategy, they talk to each other, which is very, very, very important. It's a winning strategy, really. Actually, Garner, I need to find you there. Garner was saying when a company has sales and marketing alignment, they're 3 times more likely to succeed. That tells you. And I always say that there's a reason why Fortune 500 companies are Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah, kind of I think it's common like that to have sort of a separation between the boots on the ground and the leadership, and the head doesn't know what the hands are doing, sort of thing. I feel like a lot of companies have that problem.
And I agree with you, Carl, because again, like there's lots of, I don't know if you know about this, but most of our clients right now are going through restructuring. But again, are they doing the right way? I've got no idea. I cannot tell. I mean, we have some clients who restructure every 2 years. It's like, why? Why are you getting like some companies got it right the first time around 10 years ago? Why you need to restructure constantly, like every 2 years. I won't tell you the name, but it's frustrating for everybody involved. And again, people are lose their position, lose their jobs. It creates instability, and it's a shame. It's you side side of it.
What's most important that you try to keep in mind to keep going with this and expand and do more? What really keeps you excited about the whole thing?
The people. So it's the people on my team, like the type of people I'm working with that gets me excited every day, that really like that collaboration. We want to learn. We all have the same mindset of wanting to learn and curious, want to do our best. So that's we definitely have that culture of education, learning, innovation ingrained. So that's one on one side. On the other side, with our client, is really that respectful relationship. It's so agreeable. It's even difficult conversation and not difficult conversation. They're just conversations. It's really really agreeable to work. And for our clients in general, we work a lot with clients that are very strategic thinkers, they want to be strategic, want to change their mindsets, and so it's it's really nice. Like they're challenging themselves to be better as well. And so you see on both sides there is alignment.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Define Your Purpose. Joining me today is Stefanie Curtis from London, Ontario, Canada. And she is an amazing marketer with tons of experience. And she is the CEO and founder of Pace Creative Group. And so we had some plans today to talk about one of her favorite subjects in marketing. Um, so, welcome, Stefanie.
Hi, Carl. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. Um, so, I do like to ask people about how they got started and why they do what they do. So, um, maybe you could talk a little bit about way back in the day when you were a little marketer.
A younger marketer. So I got in the industry not by surprise, but it was by luck, I guess. I graduated in 2006. At the time, there was a downturn in the industry or in the economy, and so I was winning at the time, my last year at university, I was winning a lot of competition that were running that were run by advertising agencies. We would win those competitions, and then advertising agencies would tell us, "No, we don't hire business graduates." And so we're like, "Okay, well, it's a shame." So three partners or three, students and myself decided to create our own agency, owned and run by business people. And that's how it started. So really, like, luck or stupidity, you can call it whatever you want. Looking back, it was a bit stupid in the sense that we didn't know anything about the industry. It took me years to realize it was a male dominated industry. If I had known that before, I would have maybe done things a little differently or pick a different role within the agency. Um, and then, so yeah, and we grew that company from four partners to 40 employees. And then it was very production related. So, like you would need a website. We would create that website. You need marketing materials. We would create, so very, very production focused. And then I personally was tired of it. And the reason is when you do production work, there's no performance metrics attached to the work you do, right? And oftentimes it doesn't work, or it doesn't work at all, especially with things changing and evolving and business evolving. It was really boring for me. And so I decided to switch things around and to really focus on strategy instead of tactics. And so that's why I decided to create Pace Creative with one other partner. So that's the, yeah, go ahead.
Awesome, awesome. So I actually was reading recently. It came up in a conversation with me, someone else, about strategy and tactics and the difference. My understanding is that strategy is what game you're playing, whereas the tactics are how you win the game.
That's correct. But even how you win the game has to be strategic, and this is the issue. A lot of people think, oh, you know what? I need a social media strategy. I'll start with Facebook, Instagram, blah, 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 blah. It's like, why? Why did you pick these ones? It's a lot of resources to handle that channel. Like, do you really need it? Are you ready for it? Do you have the resources for it? Are they trained? People don't ask themselves the right questions. And so you're totally right, Carl. I love it. I love the quote.
So I guess it's about being in the right place first, and then doing the right thing at the right place in the right time, maybe.
There is definitely, I mean, being at the right place, you can find always a place to be in. So when you do strategy, that's what you identify. And if you're not in the right place and you've done your strategy, then we can always find the positioning, right? A way for for the company to create their own category. So that's one thing. Or if it's completely crowded, we can actually, realize that there is no room. Actually, everything is, it's going to be difficult to stand out and having that conversation. Because when we do strategy work, especially at the top, so top level, we do market fit strategy, for instance. We can identify opportunities, and we have done that for our clients in the research phase. So when we make recommendations or explain what we've seen of the environment and the industry, we've identified opportunities for our clients. I can give you an example. I'm dating myself, like 10 years ago, in for a law firm. And we identified in a research phase that actually there were there was very few mid-sized law firms. They were actually focused on their marketing. No medium-sized law firms actually had a marketing strategy. So that was a huge, finding for us. And then also, yeah, and the way they were going about it, they were like actually a full service law firm. Like, they were doing corporate law and all types of corporate, and, they were doing wills, real estate. So it's really, really interesting. And so that research helped us make them stand out within their province.
Yeah, and then it probably helped. I guess you made up a strategy kind of around that. Then that realization. Interesting. So, I mean, you have so many big name clients on your on your page that you've worked with. How do you find all these huge clients, and what does your typical client look like? And
So I'll tell you a bit about the background where I got there with the big clients. So basically, when we first started working in the so now I'm dating myself, but in 2008 we had the opportunity to take over a digital agency that was targeting the US. And so working with that digital agency, we were able to sign as an agency, a digital agency of record, clients like Philips, G Healthcare, and Siemens. And so that's who we were trained by on digital marketing. And that's a long, long time ago. And then we grew with these companies. The one that trained us on thought leadership and content marketing is actually GE Healthcare. And they started investing in thought leadership a long time ago. They were the pioneers in our minds, anyways. And that was wonderful opportunity for us, and we took that. So that's who trained us. And so typically Fortune 500 companies would hire us in usually regulated industries, like they need that extra support. And we work on different things with them. The first one will be digital optimization strategy, which means they have a bunch of channels, they have maybe processes, but nothing is really optimized. And so we go in and see how we can get these channels to perform better. So that's one way. So if you think about filling in the gaps, expertise gaps within a department or a team. So that's one way. The other is we would actually work on a go-to-market strategy. So we'll be the outsourced resources. Sometimes we'll do the strategy per channel, or the overall strategy for that go-to-market strategy, or that go-to-market project for one product. And Fortune 500 companies typically take 24 months. So that's their timeline. They know when they're going to actually launch a product, and we start the marketing communication strategy 24 months in advance. And one of our capabilities is to create products in 3D. Like they look real. One of our product that we've created and the go-to-market strategy we were part of was actually Philips Sonicare. The toothbrush. Like when it first went to market. So it was a very, very different go-to-market strategy than today. That's just one example. Another example is Botox, actually. But again, I'm like dating myself. And it was a very, very different strategy. But that's where they will bring us in. That, it was part of our go-to-market strategy. And then based on our expertise, we would take on some projects to get them there and ready for the launch.
wow, that sounds intense. Those are big projects.
We had fun, so much fun, and working with really, really cool people and very talented and knowledgeable team members. So that was really good. So today, basically, we're working with people we worked for that's in our network. We work a lot on the referrals. We actually don't take on clients that we at this point that we don't know who have not been referring us to. So it's very much about referrals. We don't have that many clients, and so every single client has been cherry picked to some degree. They understand what we do. They appreciate and respect our expertise, and so it's a really nice relationship.
Mm, great. That's a good place to be in. It sounds like as an agency, then.
We had to it's a difficult place to be. You have to make very difficult decisions, right? And but it's worth it. That's what I believe.
What's most important that you try to keep in mind to keep going with this and expand and do more? What really keeps you excited about the whole thing?
The people. So it's the people on my team, like the type of people I'm working with that gets me excited every day, that really like that collaboration. We want to learn. We all have the same mindset of wanting to learn and curious, want to do our best. So that's we definitely have that culture of education, learning, innovation ingrained. So that's one on one side. On the other side, with our client, is really that respectful relationship. It's so agreeable. It's even difficult conversation and not difficult conversation. They're just conversations. It's really really agreeable to work. And for our clients in general, we work a lot with clients that are very strategic thinkers, they want to be strategic, want to change their mindsets, and so it's it's really nice. Like they're challenging themselves to be better as well. And so you see on both sides there is alignment.
Awesome. That's great. Have you done much with brand building and brand creating? I mean, these are very established brands that you've mentioned so far.
Now it's a very good question, Carl. Now, for Fortune 500 or even Fortune 1000, they usually have an agency of record that has created or established a brand over the years. Our job is really to make sure consistency of language. Like that's our job. So we work on a lot. We do a lot of technical writing, content writing. So for the larger companies, no, we don't do anything about positioning. This is established. It's all about consistency of the brand, making sure that stays aligned, and then consistency of content, and then following whatever mark tech they have in place, and continuation. Basically, it's about evolvement. But we don't come in as we really there as a collaboration, like as a partner to collaborate. We're not here to, like, we usually don't go in and say, oh, you have the wrong tools, you don't doing this right, blah blah blah, have you thought about that? That's not really like how we go in. It's really about how can we help you do better, or what you need help with. For Fortune 500 companies, we also work with VC backed startups, and that's a very different conversation, right? Like if we have to set things up from scratch, then yes, we would be in those conversations and we will be helping establishing the brand from scratch. The way we look at it, again, from a strategic perspective, is really about that market fit. And then the branding strategy, which is from our perspective, is more the positioning and the messaging on how you're positioning, how you communicate your positioning to your target audience so that it resonates, and then building up from there with design.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we talked a little bit last time about the relationship between sales and marketing, and um, what is the difference there, and why is sales important? I guess I'm kind of wondering. It looks like you maybe a little bit of lag here. You're getting kind of slow. Did my question get through okay?
So the importance of, yeah, the importance of sales, right? Is that what you're talking about, Carl?
Yeah, yeah, and just the difference between sales and marketing.
It's a good point. So, I mean, for the last few years, what we've identified is that a lot of companies in the B2B space, which is where we work, 95% of our work is in B2B, and we work across a lot of industries, like over 16 industries. A lot of these companies actually sales led. So, marketing for them is not a priority, or has never been one. And so, what has happened is that these companies are actually are not performing as well as they expect to perform. And so basically they're hiring more salespeople. They're doing the same of the old way, basically, of the old way that was working, and it's not working as well. And then these are very, very good skills, very, very good sales, teams, very good skills. There's nothing wrong with the skills of the salespeople. It's not, what's happening is that the traditional sales led model is not performing as
Hmm. Interesting. And that's across the board. You're saying that?
well. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then there was actually a Gartner report on that. I have to find you the document about this. But yeah, they were saying, salespeople basically can become better and better at their skills, but their performance they will underperform. And that's because the way things are working now is that we made the assumptions before that the sales cycle was linear. Marketing handed off the marketing qualified lead to the sales team. This is not true, actually. Marketing and sales are working in parallel together because the buyer journey is not linear. And so, at any point of time, a buyer might want some marketing materials, might want, the website is a marketing tool, not a sales tool. They want to be educated on what's going on, what's this company is doing, how they're solving their unique problems. Like they want to read about it and then reach out to a salesperson whenever they want, not whenever the salesperson wants to reach out. So I don't know, a good example is think about, you're on a website and you're looking for something because for whatever reason you got there. It's a reference or you're looking at a specific problem to solve for your business. And then the next day or you receive an email from that company. You're like, I didn't ask for anything. Like I really didn't. Maybe it's not the right fit. Maybe, it's not even on my consideration list. I was not happy with what I read. I don't get what they're doing, you know. And so, that's exactly a good example. So you've been prompted by a salesperson when you're not ready to talk to a salesperson. So now it's much more directed. The user or the buyer is directing the journey, not the company.
So what are all these companies doing then, or are they finding they're coming to you for a solution to this, or they're converting all their salespeople to marketing people, or
No, no, they're struggling. A lot of them, I mean, again, you've got the Fortune 500 who got it right from a long, long time ago, and they've invested in sales and marketing alignment, and they get it, and that's why they're doing very well and they're performing. I mean, there's always ways to be better, but they are, they have it all set correctly. And the others are struggling, like they're really struggling until they make a decision to change around the organizational structure, because it's a structure at the end of the day, right? It's how you think about sales and marketing, and the change has to be done at the top, not within departments. It's very difficult to change mid-level.
so you help? Have you helped a client have to restructure like that? And what is that like?
So we're working with one. I mean, yes, over the years we have. And so again, a good example is Finning Canada. So they came to us because they were going through a restructure. They were saying, our marketing doesn't work. Our agency of record out of the UK is leading the marketing, but they're a branding agency. And so things were not performing. Salespeople were not happy. They were demotivated. Um, and so we came in, and basically we were in a very good spot because Finning had completely created a new, basically, marketing team, like a digital marketing team for the Americas. And so we came in at an early stage. So it came up from the top, wanting to change the structure, and then they hired someone to lead the restructuring, and then they hired us. So it's perfect timing. And that actually was an easy, I would say, transition. A more difficult transition is what I'm working on right now with a publishing company in North America. And that is very difficult. Even within the person who's leading this effort, she doesn't even have a good oversight of how content is being created across the different departments, how things are working. It is so it's not even decentralized. It's all over the place, basically. And at the end of the day, what we realize is like the structure is completely wrong. And then they have creative on one side, and then they have events on the other, and they have SEO on another side, and they have digital, and they all should talk to each other. These all these groups should be together, and social media, and they all separated. And so our job is like, how can we align these groups to talk to each other at the beginning, and then recommend a structure that actually makes sense to build the company for the future. So yeah, it's not, it's very time consuming, and when you go through this, like, yeah. And plus they're going through a restructuring themselves, so people are scared to talk to us because they think they're going to lose their jobs. But it's not about that at all. It's really trying to understand how they're working, how who they're speaking to, even within the company, and identifying gaps. very difficult on this. It's much easier. The Finning example is a much easier one than it is when you have an established company and they've created departments um, that do not, and silos that do not talk to each other.
Mm, right. It sounds like the maybe the more nimble ones are the easiest to adapt and keep going.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day as well, when you have sales and marketing alignment, turns out it is very nimble because you don't need, and but also, I would say my biggest what I'm learning is it's always, it's someone's vision at the top, right, to create an org chart that way. And yet, the people who are suffering from that direction are always the people. So, for instance, when we first started working with that publisher, like, oh, who should we fire? And I'm like, you're not firing anybody. These are all competent people. These are people that want to work, people who want to make a difference. They want to learn. They want to be coached. They love what they're doing. They like your industry. They like your company. You've done a very good job hiring these people. It's really about you changing the way you think and how you organize resources so that we can actually put them in the right seat so that they can actually perform with their expertise. Yes, that's what it is about, right? And as I said, and that's my biggest problem is it's always, the people who are suffering from decisions being made at the top. And that's really the side of it, I think, from my perspective. But again,
Yeah, kind of I think it's common like that to have sort of a separation between the boots on the ground and the leadership, and the head doesn't know what the hands are doing, sort of thing. I feel like a lot of companies have that problem.
and I agree with you, Karl, because again, like there's lots of, I don't know if you know about this, but most of our clients right now are going through restructuring. But again, are they doing the right way? I've got no idea. I cannot tell. I mean, we have some clients who restructure every 2 years. It's like, why? Why are you getting, like, some companies got it right the first time around 10 years ago? Why you need to restructure constantly, like every 2 years. I won't tell you the name, but it's frustrating for everybody involved. And again, people are lose their position, lose their jobs. It creates instability, and it's a shame. It's you side of it.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, it's difficult to go through changes like that all the time too.
All the time.
I think the best organizations manage to keep people around for longer.
But those are, again, you're right. But I think those are the ones who are structured correctly at the top, from the top down, and they really thought through it and they understand trends and they understand where things are going. And again, most of them would have the sales and marketing alignment. That sales strategy, that marketing strategy, that talk to each other, which is very, very, very important. It's a winning strategy, really. Actually, Garner, I need to find you there. Garner was saying when a company has sales and marketing alignment, they're 3 times more likely to succeed. That tells you. And I always say that there's a reason why Fortune 500 companies are Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah, yeah, it's important to look at what the leaders are doing and whatever you're in. I think the old success leads clues sort of thing. So if someone is having issues in the organization, maybe they they should come talk to you. I mean, they should look you up on your website, or what does it generally look like when um,
Yeah, so I yeah, it's a good point. So LinkedIn is usually the best way to reach out. Usually, again, because it's a conversation, right? So we come from a perspective of helping. We really don't, it has to be the right fit. Sometimes not even the right timing. So depending on the situation. So it's really about, yeah, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to help any way I can. And then, of course, on the website, you can find information about the agency and about what we do and the clients we work with.
great, great, awesome. So what are some other things maybe that you've learned about marketing, or been trying to express to people that they haven't, that they've been amazed to learn about this week and the things that you've been doing. I know you've been really busy this week.
I have. So yeah, so I'm actually bringing this home, the sales and marketing home. The sales and marketing alignment is my new thing in terms of, really like trying to get executives to understand the that is a winning strategy, right? Because a lot of executives don't realize, that you have a certain path forward and it has worked so far, right? And so it's difficult to believe that you're going to have to change the way you've done things. And even though it's not being as successful and it's costly, it's becoming more and more costly, but, it's difficult to change. So my education right now this week in general is like, and that's usually what I do when I have a conversation or first conversation is, what is your pain point? And so sometimes they will say to me, I've not met my sales target, or my sales team is demotivated. So you see a lot of that. We've missed a lot of opportunities. Clients don't understand what we do. We don't know if our sales efforts are being rewarded and if it's working. So they're not tracking the data. They don't know what's going on. There's conflict. Like I had a good example where someone came to me and said, Stephanie, I'm desperate. I'm on the sales side. I'm desperate to get qualified leads. And I'm like, well, what does your marketing department do? It's like, well, they don't get it. I'm not getting qualified leads from the marketing team. And I'm like, well, I cannot help you. I'm on the marketing side. Like, I'm here to support sales, but if marketing doesn't hire me, I cannot help you. And he was super, super stressed. But that's a very good example of misalignment and what's causing sales and marketing misalignment within teams and within companies.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. So who do you want to help the most with this coming up this year? I mean, what are you most excited about?
Yeah, just think guys change. It's part of digital transformation. That's the way I see it. A lot of companies are on that digital transformation journey, and so that sales and marketing alignment is part of it. So a lot of I typically work with the C-suite in general first, because again, change has to be done at the top, and then we help with putting a process in place or a plan in place and train team members or put new SOPs when needed. And in terms of the industries that we work the most in right now is definitely medical device, diagnostics, life sciences. We see a huge need there. We do work in high tech, like high IT, big data, security, and then some engineering firms because they also are struggling. Like think about professional services, and yeah, so that's just an examples.
Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. Um, well, we're just about a week out from International Women's Day. I know you mentioned that being important. Was there what was your focus for that day and moving forward from there? Now,
It's interesting. It's a good question, Carl. So we've been celebrating, International Women's Day. We celebrate it every day as a woman-led agency. When I started with Pace Creative, I was very clear on my values and the philosophy of the agency. So we're definitely women-led, and for me, it's taking every day the opportunity to make sure that women or have leadership opportunities as well, within work or if I, and provide those opportunities for them to keep on learning and stay at the top as much as possible. So that's this is my why. Like this is why anything that I do is really keeping that in mind, giving women around me opportunities to lead or being in better leadership positions.
great, great. So kind of an inside job, huh? Just on a day to day basis, you work at it, huh?
I do. I realize it's one of my biggest challenge. Actually, I find a lot of the women that I work with typically are putting them, barriers in front of themselves, and it's a shame. And so my job is to really like overcome those barriers and convince them that they're very capable. And leadership skills are things that you can learn, and we can support them with and give them resources to build those leadership those skills over time. But I agree with you. It is it's a battle every day.
Right? Yeah. Excuse me. Um, so I wonder what else was there anything else you wanted to add today to our conversation? Did you have anything else in mind that you wanted to bring up?
No, I think it's a great conversation, Carl. Again, thank you again for the opportunity.
Yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time. Maybe we'll have to catch up, have another talk sometime soon. I'm having some events coming up pretty soon with my book launch and all. So um, maybe you could stay tuned, and I'd love to have you as a speaker or something like that.
Absolutely, anytime you can count on me. Definitely.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time, Stephanie. A really great conversation. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Carl.